All right, Veronica Lightning Horse Perez, good to see you. I got everything correct in your name, I hope?
Yep.
Well, it was great to meet you in Denver at the Portal event. For those who maybe are new a little bit to your world and your work, could you just tell us a little bit about your name, where you're at, just quickly, who you are, so we can dive into this.
Well, I'm a lot of things. This whole journey has just really brought me to a place of learning that I am what I am. I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm a shamanic practitioner. I'm a ceremonialist working with mushrooms specifically. I'm a healer of many different modalities and have been for quite a long time. I got to be the co-chief proponent. So my name is actually on the measure, Prop 122 for the decrim bill.
Amazing.
In Colorado for the state. Recently, I'm public speaker, author, mother of 5, wife, many, many, many things. I definitely have a blessed full life.
I'm most impressed by mother of 5 amongst the entire biography. That must keep you very fulfilled and very busy. So thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So how did you get into an interest or any intersection with mushrooms? Because if you're taking the lead or being involved there with the legal action in Colorado to help bring, is it recreational use or But I'm just curious how you got into that first, like your story.
I had actually only once ever taken it recreationally when I was 17, and then no use for many, many years. I came to it later in ceremonial fashion, specifically for self-healing. The doctors had given me a diagnosis where I wasn't going to make it past 36. And with the children, it really wasn't an option to not figure out a better way to live and keep living. So I launched on this whole healing journey, began with peyote, that really introduced me to what I was as far as a healer, that took me on that path, which then brought me to mushrooms, which then brought me to ayahuasca, which then opened up this entire world. I will say I never ever saw myself working in drug policy ever. It was a hell of a journey for sure. But yeah, it was for my own healing work that got me started on this path.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about what that diagnosis was and why you thought medicine work, or where that bridge was where you entered, for your own healing, you thought that was a direction to go in?
I had complex PTSD, and it was developing a lot of psychosomatic illnesses, plus the sheer amount of medication they put you on and the breakdown that happens in your body. And then I was in a car accident, damaged some nerves in my back, which just made absolutely everything worse. And the fall through just started my body shutting down. My kidneys started shutting down. There were holes being eaten through my stomach and my intestines. So they wanted to take out part of my intestines and put in a colostomy bag, anemia, ended up having a heart attack. And that was just like the climax of the revelation of your body just can't handle what is going on within your mind, the amount of fear and terror you just live in a daily basis, with trying to manage the children and just be okay for them. And just the sheer amount of physical pain that comes with nerve damage and bulging discs and all of the breakdown over the years. The peyote is what really started me realizing that I wasn't crazy. I was gifted, and that there was much, much more to the world and life than just pure pain and survival and navigating fear. And that is the path that took me to another modality that I still practice. I even train people in it, neuro-linguistic programming and forms of Gestalt therapy. But after a few years of that, I learned that it wasn't enough just reordering and the recreation of the mindset and the belief systems wasn't enough, which brought the mushrooms into my world. And to be perfectly honest with you, when the shaman gave them to me for the first time, they sat on my shelf in my little lock basket for a good 3 months, just afraid to go and open any doors and get into what I knew was buried in there. The anxiety I had just to begin microdosing in the beginning was pretty profound, but I'm a fairly fast learner. And it led to the opportunity of meeting a gentleman that talked about, he does a different way with the mushroom work, where it's not just lay down, close your eyes, and go on a journey. He does somatic release work along with it, specifically to trigger the trauma buried in the body while you have the spirit of the medicine in your system, which is a whole other level of healing. Like, this particular ceremony is done naked. So there is nowhere to hide. There is nowhere to go. All of your fears and terrors and inadequacies come to the surface. It is extremely profound. It is definitely not for everyone. But after that ceremony, to be able to take a deep breath without realizing I hadn't been breathing, even with all the work that I had done, was the big pushover for me, that there is something to this that is way more than just spirituality. It's way more than neurological reset. It's way more than just a healing path. This is something that is beyond life changing, should you choose to step up in the willingness and face that fear of yourself and your fear of your fear, in fact. And that was really the pathway that, again, changed my life and sent it in a trajectory I never ever anticipated, leading to where I am today.
Wow, you've really been through it there. Brave soul. So I'm hearing that there was this movement into peyote and then into the mushrooms, and then also you spoke about ayahuasca. But it's sounding like something about that particular mushroom ceremony, or maybe others. I'm assuming this is progressive. Shifted something energetic, ineffable, like in addition to the neuro-linguistic, neural things that you're working with consciously, and something maybe more somatic and stored in your body. I mean, I want to hear a little more about, like, if you can describe it, what that experience was like of release or process that somehow helped you turn a corner with all these health ailments and pain and trauma that you're working with.
Well, if you think about the conditioning that we all have since we're little kids, it's the sit down, stand in line, raise your hand. Everything is very permission based. Permission to go to the bathroom, permission to go to your friend's house, permission to have dessert. It's very permission based, and it's also very control based. Let's be quiet. What other people think of you. Don't make waves. Don't bother anybody, which can make it very challenging to do some of the somatic work. And, the body, the suit, the form is very, very primal. It is extremely primal. It doesn't use words to communicate. It uses sounds, it uses grunts, it uses sighs, it uses screams. It's a sound-based device. And with that particular mushroom ceremony, it was encouraged to make noise. It wasn't just a be still. It wasn't individual. There wasn't anyone but my husband and the practitioner in the room. And in the beginning, I couldn't let go. I couldn't give myself over to make the sounds, even the sighs. It was uncomfortable, embarrassing. It was just weird to make noise. After a lifetime of do not make noise, it
Yeah.
was really weird to make noise. And then he touched a spot on the inside of my thigh. Having had trauma of rape and sexual, I don't even know what you would call it. It wasn't really molestation. It wasn't really assault. It was just horrific multiple times as a child. People don't touch the inside of your thighs. My husband doesn't even touch certain places, but with his gift, he knew where to activate. So he pushed that button, so to speak, that anchor that trauma was stored in my body, and everything just lit up in my brain and body. It just woke up and was straight back into that event. This particular one took me back to when I was 4 years old, and I was in it again. I was reliving it in a completely different way than just a PTSD flashback. It was very, very real, but the medicine and the spirit had a gentleness to allow me to feel it somatically, allow me to feel the emotions and the terror, but also have a little bit of outside perspective where I was able to watch the process, not be fully lost into it, which then all of a sudden, the discomfort of making noise and being loud just completely vanished. So I was able to get out all the screams, all the, am I allowed to cuss here?
Cuss away. I love the word cuss.
Right? Curse, cuss. But all the fuck yous, all the fuck yous and all the hatred and all the hurt and everything that I had never been able to process. I'd never been able to speak to, even in years of therapy. Well, let's talk about this. And how did it make you feel? And how did it make you feel? But the body went through it too, separate from the mind. And the body just had screams. The body just had animal sounds of terror and anger, and being able to move that energy out of my body, letting my body have a voice was something it had never had the opportunity to have before. I mean, there was a moment of time where I did get a little scared because I did have the conscious awareness still of what was
Sure.
happening. Beautiful about the medicine, but it was like a tape recorder that got stuck on the word fuck. So I'm just shrieking at the top of my voice over and over again, just fuck, 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 fuck. And I'm looking like desperately around, like it's not stopping. Until it finally did. It finally broke and let me have a different kind of cry. A sorrow for the child, a grieving for the child, a grieving even for my assaulter, the person that caused the damage, a grieving for my sister who was near to and too small to really process too much, but was still in the energy and the field and the awareness of what was going on. It was a whole different level of grief on the other side of the body finally being able to have a voice. And to me, that's where the magic was, of all these modalities coming together and the spirit of the mushroom giving that little bit of buffer, that little bit of opportunity to have awareness and not be completely lost in the terror and the trauma of it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It also sounds like such powerful work, but very edgy work. Like that takes a very skilled practitioner that you were working with to help guide you through such sensitive areas and such like tender but powerful tenderness at the same time. So I mean, that took a lot of trust on your part, I would imagine.
It does, and it's very risky work. I mean, I would love to be able to do this kind of work with people, but I've heard stories from more than one practitioner where it is absolutely 100% not sexual, but because of the trauma and how easy it is to point the finger, how well trained we are to, you triggered me, you made me feel this way, you touched me, and it made me feel these feelings, so you did it. It's very, very dangerous work. You know, the accusations can be career killers, and unfortunately there are practitioners that are absolutely there doing the things they're being accused of. And it takes a tremendous amount of trust. I had my husband there, that helped a lot because I wasn't alone. It comes with both things, you know, fear of judgment and the relationship training for what my husband is witnessing, but at the same time, knowing that because my husband is there, the practitioner is not going to do any kind of funny business. And my previous training in self-work, I had come to a place where I was very aware that this is my shit. It's my shit. It's my trauma. Even if you did touch me in a suggestive way, my response is my own. And I am completely capable of defending myself, stopping you, fighting back. I didn't have that when I was younger. But through the rest of the work, that in and of itself allows you to feel safe in a different way because you can't do anything to me that I'm not allowing.
Yeah, I mean that takes a very high level of emotional intelligence on your part, which is great. You know, let me weave this into the idea of mushrooms being more widely legalized, or let's just say available, perhaps supported, and Colorado specifically. You know, what's your view on how like it's one thing for it to be available more, but how do you see or envision that being supported of people if they're not all going to be going through processes like you just mentioned, or maybe don't even have support, you know, from another person? Like, what is your vision for how mushrooms might actually be relevant to today and people with the challenges they're facing?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've had to do a lot of work on this subject in a lot of areas. I initially had a lot of judgment. I have such a deep respect and reverence for the medicine that the partying with it was very challenging for me to see it mixed with alcohol, to use to just jack around, for other people to use it to, it is an altering effect. And some that are more predatory using that in negative ways, people that are inexperienced using it and having negative results, the level of blaming of the medicine, people getting hurt both psychologically and physically as a result of realistically just the ignorance and the
Yeah.
lack of respect for this powerful medicine. I have done a lot on it. I still have some residual that I'm working on, not gonna lie. At the end of the day, I came to the conclusion that I might not trust people per se. I trust them to be themselves, but I don't necessarily trust people. I do, however, trust the medicine. And I do trust that once you place that in your body, once you put that in your mouth, it is no longer your law. It is God's law. And those spirits are wise. They will give you what you need. On the other side, it is your responsibility to choose how you're going to handle that and what you're going to do with it. But I trust the medicine to make a difference. I really do see it connecting people, and are actually seeing people being connected, waking up, realizing that there is so much more to life than they thought. There is so much more to themselves than they thought. And that, I think, is the shift that we really need for people to open their eyes and see what's happening on the planet, see what's happening as a result of the conditioning and the programming, and start to make new choices and stop blaming everything outside of themselves for how they feel
Yeah.
inside. Come to the recognition that you have so much more power and control than you think you do.
Big thank you to our council, the council on Patreon, patreon.com/eastforest. That's a spot, I'm going to be sharing this month some really rad live recordings from some touring I just did in Nashville and Seattle. These big hundreds of people out there lying down and in cathedrals, and there's just cool moments happen musically. And one of the only places I can share this music is on the council on Patreon. So see if it's right for you. Thank you for your support and everyone there who is a supporter. We also do a monthly live Zoom council. It's for the member tier and above. And that's where we get to witness one another and share. And I do a custom in real time guided meditation to also usually unreleased East Forest music. So check it out, patreon.com/eastforest. But what tools do you think we could provide, or what are the ways to have this be a more positive experience for people? So it's one thing to be like, we trust the medicine or spirit doesn't discriminate, but it's another thing to be like, well, but still people do stumble into some pretty challenging situations, and that can be psychologically traumatizing in itself to have a really challenging experience. What can we do to help it be perhaps more positive more regularly?
I mean, honestly, things like this, it's education, it's stories, it's people being willing to be vulnerable and talk about the mistakes that they've made or their harsh journeys, to be real with each other. The more platforms we have where there are educational tools, the more speakers we have that are platformed, especially Indigenous speakers, legacy holders, or even those that have been sitting with the medicine for a very long time that have access to information that the newbies don't. Like, we have to get those voices out, those stories out. We have to have places like the Fireside Project that if you are having a bad trip or you're having a problem afterwards, there's some place you can call. Like I have a psychedelic church so that when people sit with the medicine or even take it recreationally and have these huge aha moments and come back to the other side and are like, oh my God, holy shit, like I have fucked up so bad. Like I don't even know what to do.
Where
I don't
do
know
I
where to
start?
go from here. Yeah, that there's a place for them to go where they're accepted and instead celebrated. We're like, oh yay, we're so happy that you're here now, that you're getting it. It's not a kick the shit out of yourself moment. Like you didn't know better. Now you do. Now you're here. Now you can make it better. This is a good thing. And we have to have these platforms. That's what Portal, where we met, is all about, is here's a place, here's a community, here's an opportunity for you to come and learn. And at the very least, even if there has been trauma, a place to come heal where there are others to hold you and support that may have been there as well.
May I ask, like, what challenges you face personally when you're in this quote unquote movement or when you're trying to push this forward? I mean, what are the things that sometimes you face internally that you have to wrestle with or give you pause?
Human hatred.
Human
Uh,
hatred.
Human
Wow.
hatred. Yep. I have never been more hated in my life or judged in my life, criticized, attacked, persecuted, betrayed, abandoned in any stage of this human development in this lifetime ever than the 2.5 years that I spent working on the campaign. I am still working through what I jokingly call political PTSD, but it's real. It's legit. The level of shock and trauma I came away with from the campaign, I had no idea. I didn't know people were capable of that level of hatred for someone that they didn't know, that they had never spoken to, that the willingness to actively try to hurt someone, to destroy someone they had no information about, never
So
met.
you're saying it was very
Oh,
personal, like as opposed to
oh,
policy, which is a lot of politics these days. But
very, 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 very personal. And it was made very, very, very personal. Um, and I had to sit with that a lot and a lot of questioning, like, am I wrong? Are they right? Should I be? Shouldn't I not be? And at the end of the day, I had to keep coming back to my inner compass and my inner authority and be, sometimes fully beaten down, or I would just go home at night and couldn't sleep and would just cry myself, into a tiny little ball and having like not there's really nothing that you can do. I had to take down some of my platforms and I had to get my kids to like not go on the internet because the level of crap that was coming out against me on like social media and things like that my children were seeing. And people having no thought of that, they were boycotting my store for a while there and like not letting people come in, and we almost lost the business because of it. Like it got
geez,
really, really.
I mean, is this coming from sort of traditional, I don't know, the side that's just afraid of this work, or is this internal squabbles? Like, I mean, on the side of people who are about this, but they have different disagreements on how it's rolled out, or is this just people complete? Just I don't want psychedelics in Colorado, kind of thing. No drugs.
It was pretty much all over the map. That's what made it so challenging. Is that if it was just coming from a group with a certain mindset, that would be one thing. But it was coming from everywhere, from some of the more staunch Christian groups where I am the devil and I'm leading their children to hell, to the mothers that are, this is going to destroy their kids and their kids' lives, and I'm threatening their children. to a lot of the indigenous people, where I'm handing over a sacred medicine to white people to commodify and disrespect and destroy, and the further pain and havoc that that will cause within the indigenous communities, to be robbed of yet one more thing, to those that were just dead set against allowing this to come forward into the general public's hands because of what might happen and the fear there, to those in the underground that had their ideas and their beliefs about how it should be done, to those that just didn't want other people, didn't want the people that had money to make more money. It was pretty much just across the board, and so many different beliefs and mindsets coming together that just believed what they believed was right. And anyone that did not believe what they believed was wrong and needed to be stopped, which is realistic history. That's history, that's why there aren't so many indigenous people left, because this is the right belief. You have a wrong belief, and we need to make you believe what is right, even if we
Yeah.
have to destroy you. And at the end of the day, my friend, it was fear. Lots of different reasons, but it was fear. I do not believe in evil. I believe that fear can create evil. It was just fear.
Where's it out now?
Now I'm mostly left alone. I will get surges from time to time when there's like a threat of change. There's still a lot of blame pointed towards me. I'm praying that it will not resurge when they roll out the what are there the all the new rules for the healing centers that'll be coming out. Those rules should be out here end of the month. Um, so there's going to be a lot more movement in it as that portion of the project, so to speak, will come to fruition, and we'll begin to see the fuckery that comes out of that. A lot of people have calmed down because those fears have been proven non-viable. The world didn't fall apart. People are not jumping out of windows. Planes aren't crashing into the ground. Children aren't dying and going crazy en masse. These things aren't happening. So a lot of it has calmed down because what they were afraid of has been proven,
Yeah.
without foundation.
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people will be looking at how things go in Colorado, sort of like they've been looking at Oregon, and I'm sure Oregon sounds like a pretty different unfolding. But do you think that these modalities, medicines, practices have the potential to be unfolded in a way fast enough at scale to make a difference, given what we're facing as a people?
I do, because I've already seen a difference made. I've heard hundreds and hundreds of stories from people about how these medicines have changed their lives.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people that haven't been able to take what is revealed or what they learned and do anything positive with it, that have made some of the conditions worse. But overall, so many stories of veterans and women with sexual traumas, and just across the board, people finding healing. And I have the belief that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. And anybody, one single person raises their vibration just a little bit, it gives us momentum to continue to raise that vibration and continue to raise that vibration. Like even the conversations that I hear now, I didn't hear those conversations when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. Like it's literally okay in a lot of places for to be brown now. It was not okay to be brown when I was growing up,
Yeah.
and that change alone, and so much of this new awareness and awakening, I believe, is attributed to Maria Savina having handed over that medicine, although she paid for it dearly, just like I have. The movement that has been created in so many of lives, even if it is just people asking questions they never asked before, that is going to make real change. It is already making real change. I mean, the earth, she's going to heal ourselves with us in the way or not. But the more of us that can support that or get the hell out of her way, the more of a chance that we have as a species to do better.
Yeah, like we're the Earth too, so it's sort of like
Yeah.
be getting into harmony with what is. Um, I'm curious in your interactions with the public and all this wide diaspora of opinions and ignorance and so forth. What have you learned as the ways to language this, and how do we build bridges ultimately that actually build a bridge? You know, that start to get that incremental inclusivity for people of different backgrounds into the same tent, as opposed to just creating more polarization and like, this is our tribe, that's your tribe, but now we're a little bigger than you, so we're going to dominate, or we win.
Think a lot of it is putting fear to rest. A lot of it is reminding people that they do have choice. I have a saying that I absolutely love that has changed the way I look at the world, which is if there is a no awareness, there is no choice. And part of my process and part of my role, part of my job, whatever the word is, my purpose in this world is to be a choice bringer. Here is some new information. Here is a story. Here is an opportunity for you to have new information so that you can make a new choice, a different choice, because the choice that you're making is obviously not working out for you. You're angry, you're hurt, you're anxious, you're full of fear, you're stuck. So the choices you're making aren't working. And really speaking into the power of beliefs, because that's where the damage across human history has come from, is that I believe that this is us and this is them. And that's where tension arises. I mean, go all the way back to World War II. These were good people. They didn't hurt people. They didn't kill people. They didn't start out this way. But when that dividing line was drawn, this is us and that's them. And they are bad. And you are better than them. It's why the racial line was divided to begin with. Us, them, we're better. If they think they're as good as us, that's dangerous to our feelings of value and self-worth. So we need them to know, we need to stop that, we need to put them down. And that's the disaster, that's the fear. Because if I know internally that I am good, I don't need anybody else to validate that. I know that I am good. I know that I am God. I know that I am light, whatever word you want to use. But if I'm okay inside, according to my beliefs and my choices, then I do not need anyone else to agree with me. And if they believe something different than I do, it's not a threat. It doesn't have to be a threat that you call God by a different name. It doesn't have to be a threat that you disagree with me. We agree on 20 other things. Let's discuss us. And if we bring everybody into the tent, and instead of discussing what we don't agree about, we can discuss what we do agree about. Hey, everybody, there's not much clean water left. I think we can all agree that this is a problem. So let's leave
You'd
everything
think, yeah.
else. Let's just work on this. We can
Yeah.
come together in a powerful way.
Yeah. It's amazing the things that affect us all that for some reason we can't even agree on that. You know, I kind of thought when the pandemic happened, I was like, oh, this will be it. Like, this is perfect. Like, it touches all of us and no one can escape in essence. And like, this will bring us together. And I was like, wow. It showed me also like the ways in which we are, manipulated by information sickness and not really knowing what's even on the ground. Like, where do our feet stand on the ground? It's hard to know anymore. And it's just like post fact, post truth world where we get to create our own facts and reality tunnels. It's challenging in that way to know how to navigate. So I would imagine like democracy itself, when you're trying to just like ask people a question, like, do we want this or not? It's hard to even like have a shared ground on like, what are we even talking about? You know, it's like some people think the mushroom thing's about this, some people think it's about this. You know, it's like, man, it's hard to get on the same page today.
It is. It really
Yeah.
is. Even with me and the recreational use, I had a really hard time with recreational use. I had a lot of judgment about it. And then one day we were doing work on the campaign, and we came back to one of the Airbnbs, and they were using it recreationally. But I'm watching my friends who have just the work and the pain and the frustration and the fear of the work we were doing together. I saw how much it beat us all down. And they're receiving this medicine, and they're standing in this living room, and they're dancing. Their eyes are closed, they're smiling, they're dancing, they're laughing. And as I sat back and watched it and worked on recognizing it's my judgment, just because it's my judgment doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just my judgment. I'm looking at them going, how is this not healing? Maybe this isn't laying on a mat. Maybe this isn't communing with Grandfather Fire. Maybe this isn't with the prayers and the ceremony, but this is in fact healing. They need this. They need to be able to dance. They need to be able to relax. They need to be able to let go. And if the medicine is going to help them do that, and it's going to be a permission slip for them to be able to relax and let themselves heal and move in this way, who the hell am I to say that that's wrong?
If you haven't had a chance to see the Music for Mushrooms film, now you can see it online. We're going to be doing our first global live stream event on December 12th. And we're going to share the film. We're going to do a Q&A, a little embodied experience after that. And you can join and watch that same event that we're doing on December 12th anytime until December 22nd. So for 10 days, essentially, it'll be online. If you can't make it on the 12th, it'll go all the way through the solstice. Just go to musicformushrooms.com or eastforest.org. You can get a ticket now. It's a pay-what-you-can model. And this is the way for us to really open it up to our community all around the world. And so I'm so excited. Tell your friends. The Music for Mushrooms film, global live stream event, December 12th. Get a ticket now. Did you have a family or ancestral background with this that you were able to connect with? Or tell me just where and how you grew up a little bit.
No, I was actually raised as a Jehovah's Witness. So you want to talk about deprogramming. I came to it much later in life, about, was it 13, 14 years ago now. I did have elders that taught me and guided me and gave me a lot of different information from a lot of different tribes. I went on the whole studying religion journey and things like that. And the more I learned from the different elders and the legacy keepers, the more I learned from the different priests and rabbis and shamans and preachers and all the things, is that y'all are talking about the same thing. One of the most profound things an elder told me as we were sitting there for a nipi for Sweat Lodge, and I was asking him about what he thought about just the hatred and am I betraying my people by helping to support freedom of choice with these medicines and decriminalize it. And, you know, he sat and thought about it, and he looked at me and he says, you know what? I think it comes down to everything else. It's like Inipi. It's like Sweat Lodge. It's simple. Sweat Lodge is simple. We come, we build, we sweat, we heal, we pray. It's simple. Everything else is man. Whether, oh, no, it's juniper, no, it's sweetgrass, no, it's copal, no, it's 9 stones, no, it's 12 stones, no, it's east facing, no, it's west facing, no, it needs to be blankets, no, it has to be hides, no, it has to be willow, no. All of that is man. That's all man. The Sweat Lodge is simple. And it is the same thing with the medicine. It grows. The earth has given it to all of her children. No one should be allowed to say who should have it, who shouldn't have it, how it should be taken, how it should be used. That is for each individual to find their own way and to form their own relationship with it.
Xochitl Ashe says that in the film. She's a medicine woman whose family's lineage Peruvian, Andean, with mushrooms, about how these medicines are for everyone's healing, regardless of our backgrounds. They are here for for humans, and we can hopefully we want to honor and learn and honor the work that's been done for sure, but it's just to recognize inner work of all the different shapes and sizes as a human right. It's like, how do we
Yeah.
support that work, really? And there's so many different ways, myriad ways to support that work and to do the work, but it's like it's all honorable work. Let me just ask a couple more questions. And so, leading into like delusion, we're in an age of, I'm saying inner work's important, but then some people are co-opting that or getting a little lost in their own delusion, just like the Instagram spirituality, the commodification. Any thoughts on how that could be navigated, like how we become proponents for this work, but not just add to a problem of delusion?
Excellent question. There's actually been a lot of leaders in the spiritual communities, the real spiritual communities, I will say, many indigenous elders coming together to speak about not just the commodification of sacred plant medicine, but the commodification of spirituality. And many discussions are being held about that. I had a problem with it for a little while too, because it's like healing is a fad. I was invited out to California to do a talk, and I'm like looking around and I'm just blown away. It's like it's a fad, just like a new purse. It's like I don't even know what to do with that. Like I don't even it's popular. Healing and doing the work is popular. I'm like, oh my God, especially with what I came from. And I realized, accidental healing is a real thing. And my personal belief is that it is in the individual's story. It is people being willing to get up and actually share the truth of their story, because that is what speaks to the heart, right? Not just you should do this and you shouldn't do this, and this is the right way and this is the right path. Indigenous wisdom tells us all rivers lead to the ocean. It will get there. You might be paddling backwards and making your life really, really freaking hard, but we're all going to get to the same place. Even the medicines, even the man-made medicines, the MDMA and the chemical DMTs and things like that, they're all just different doors to get you to the same place. And a lot of people, they'll sit in their delusions and they'll dance around it. And something's going to wake them up at some point in time or another. I say a lot of prayers for humanity that when they get to that realization, that holy shit, oh my God, aha moment, that they have the strength to move through it. They have the strength to integrate it. Because like your earlier question, what can we do? Getting everybody into the tent and really educating people. You have to integrate. You have to integrate. The work is the integration. It's not the courage of just sitting with the medicine or listening to the spirit or whatever it is. It's the freaking integration, and not just with the medicines. It's the ceremony that we did at Porto, the integration after the meditations, the integration after. Are you integrating the trauma of your life? Are you integrating the conversation you have? Are you integrating the podcast you listen to? Are you integrating the information that you're getting from the teacher? Because if you are, that is what's going to allow you to know whether they're full of shit or full of ego, and whether they're real and true and valid. And then, God, for crying out loud, permission to take what resonates and leave the rest. Stop the worshiping. Stop the freaking worshiping of anything. You are the little creator. If there is any worship to be had, it needs to be found for the incredible freaking beings we are, not little ego in there going, I'm the best and I'm so awesome and don't tell me that I'm not or I'm going to hurt you and punish you because you made me feel it. No. The incredible being that we are, that is literally made of light. Learn how we work, because then it's true honor we have for ourselves. It's real love that we have for ourselves.
And life is the point. Like, all of this should be part of our lives, not like the thing we do that gets us away from our lives or is like this separate life or separate tribe or whatever it is. Like, this is it. Like, it's always just been this, and we're meant to be working on the things I believe that are in our life. Probably the
Yeah.
things we're struggling with that maybe you want to get away from, which is understandable, perhaps. But that's like the constituent parts of the learning here on campus Earth. My buddy VC Johnson has this great phrase about like all choices are valid and everybody graduates. It's like sort of another way of being like all the rivers lead to the ocean. It's like everyone's on a spiritual journey, whether they know it or not. In essence, like it might be Monday Night Football for them or whatever it is, but they're chasing something. We all are. We're all dealing with this existential, like, what's going on? Like, and it's just particularly messy right now because there's such expansion and hacking of our brains and bodies through attention and technology, and like we are so like manipulated in ways that it's hard to even keep track of or keep up with, and it's been moving so fast. So I do think it's important that we have those sort of like litmus tests or some kind of way to check ourselves and have the mirror to be like, yo, like, is this real what you're saying, or is this actually like creating more like benevolence in our world, or is this creating more division? Is this coming from fear? To have compassion for people, it's not always easy. Even the delusion of any belief that we can hold. So it's tricky at times to find the ground in the world that we live in. Let me just wrap this up. I'm curious. Like, I want to ask you: do you personally feel hopeful?
I do. I do. Throughout the process of my healing, I've been able to come to a point of, well, A, the more I know, the more I know that I don't know shit. And B, that this reality is what I make of it. And then I have a choice of what that reality is. And the reality in which I want to live is that humans are going to get it. We're going to get it. We're going to figure it out. We will find our way back to the love that we are. I choose not to allow the fear and the hatred and the paranoia to enter into my reality. And if that means that I live under a rock or I am delusional, then so be it. Because in my little delusional world, I have access to peace. I have access to love. I have access to happiness. I'm not going out trying to change anybody or need anybody to change, but I do believe that humans are inherently good, that they are inherently beautiful, and that if they've got to take 150 trips back and forth to figure that out, then so be it, but they will figure it out. The karma that I broke in this life, the person that I was before, is nothing, is nowhere anywhere close to who I am today. And some people are faster in it and some people are slower in it. But when I believe that humans will figure it out, I feel good. I feel stable. I have the energy to keep going and sharing with those who want to listen, who choose to listen, to allow them to take what resonates and not need them to take any more than that. I can live a happy, fulfilled, good, peaceful, joyful life that is full of beauty and awe and wonder. And if I choose to believe anything other than that, then I go into the fear box. That sucks. It sucks to live in the fear box. And what if so and so gets elected? Oh, but what if so and so gets elected? And what if the aliens come and wipe us out? And the earth is round. No, it's not. It's flat. And they're going to invade. No, we're going to invade. And everything is hell. And like, why, if I have 24 hours a day, why would I want to spend any of my precious time thinking about things like that, talking about things like that, that create fear and hurt and panic within my body, within my reality? No, no, not when I can sit here with you and talk about the potential of humans and how they're learning and how they're growing, and the gift the indigenous people have given us, the gift of these sacred medicines, of all of the incredible stories of people who have received healing, the stories I was hearing of people after the the incredible set that you played at Portal and the excitement. I could fill my mind and my heart with that in the same 5 minutes that I could fill it with that, fill it with that. It's just choice and it's just focus. So I choose to believe. I choose to believe that we will figure it out. We will turn back and look on the dark ages and just be full of gratitude for the lessons we learned and how we were able to come out of it and the incredible stories we will have to take home with us.
It's sort of, I think it's NLP to sort of have the mindset like we are growing. People are figuring it out. This is us growing and becoming. Like,
Yeah.
this is it. So it is happening. It's messy, but it's happening. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed chatting with you. I mean, hope we can do it again sometime. Maybe do a check in, see where things are at as we move forward in this. But I mean, is there anything else you'd like to add to this conversation or where people want to link in with you? We'll put it in the show notes too.
Um, I mean, I would just like to offer a choice for people to find gratitude for themselves, to remember that acceptance is key. Even if we feel like I don't want to accept what is, it's that acceptance that allows us to build on it. And forgiveness, the magic for me is when I came to a place with myself where I got to move out of the self hatred enough to be in a place where there's a realization of there's nothing that I can't come to a place of forgiveness for myself, for others. And when that happened, there's nothing I can't come to a place of forgiveness for. That set me free. It set me free at a level that I can't even express. I'm not saying I have to forgive it immediately. I have to work through it, but I can come to a place of forgiveness because then I'm not bound. I'm not tethered. I'm not arguing or justifying the pain that I have as a result of the abuse that I suffered. It's not always easy. I still have physical pain from getting run over by a car for being the wrong color in a in the I'm not even it wasn't even the wrong place, just being the wrong color to people that wanted to make me pay for it. I still have pain. And when that pain gets bad in the winter, sometimes it'll come back and I have to re-forgive and re-forgive. But if we can give ourselves permission, that's what it takes to give ourselves permission to let go of our old stories, to give ourselves permission to make a new choice, to give ourselves permission to give somebody else permission to believe what they believe and for that to be okay. Our lives our lives can change. And at the end of the day, that's what it's really about. My life can change. My human experience can change. And if yours doesn't, maybe that'll make me a little sad, but I can return my focus to the change that I've made and know that each and every person that walks this planet creates a ripple. And if we bring our attention back to the ripple that we're creating, then maybe it'll become easier to choose to make a positive ripple instead of a ripple made from pain, to share our experiences and share the wisdom of our experiences instead of the pain of our experiences. So, anyone hearing this, feel free to dismiss what doesn't apply and come back to everything is a choice. Even your beliefs are a choice. And what you choose to believe creates your reality. And it is okay to create a reality that fills you up and makes you happy and not need anyone else to validate that or even join you in it, to create a beautiful inner world for yourself in which you get to live and be happy there. Because, God, it's such an amazing thing to be happy, and it is possible. Speaking from someone who didn't believe it was possible, didn't believe I deserved it, it is. And it is a beautiful thing, even if it's just a moment and it's fleeting, to have that happiness and know that it's possible.
It'd be wonderful if more people can see their happiness, especially when it's not hurting anybody else. You know,
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good test there. It's like, yeah, if it's at the cost of other people, it might not be the kind of happiness that's sustainable or what you're looking for. But it is ultimately always springing from an internal choice, an attitude in essence, a perspective, and that's one, as you're saying, that you reaffirm, and it's like a river that's flowing. Like, the times we come in, we come out, we have to re-engage in that way to find our way. But I appreciate the words so much. Thank you, and it's been great to have a little more time to chat. Thanks, Veronica.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your work and sharing your light and your wisdom and your story. It's beautiful ripples you've made, my friend. Beautiful ripples. Thank you, my brother.
Thanks, Veronica, for coming on the show. I enjoyed our conversation. Check her out. See how you might want to support and drop into everything that she's up to. This song that you're hearing in the background is called See You Now, and it is from the official documentary soundtrack that is available wherever you listen to music. This song was recorded at the farm, and it's actually the scene that you see in the film, Music for Mushrooms. Again, we're doing a live event, global live stream event, where you can watch the film online December 12th, going until December 22nd. Check it out, musicformushrooms.com. Keep walking, friends. Till next time.